Okay. All right. I think I'm waiting for us to go through it. There's a little bit of lag, KrisAnne. So while there's the lag going on, I want to remind everyone, go to hankstrange.com. That is how you could support us. You can sign up for our email list. You can find out all the different ways of supporting us, like our merch store at Ballistic Inc., the new store that opened up. There's a link to it there, or you could just go directly to Ballistic Inc. And I'm going to kick the show off right now. Let me press the button. And Walter, you ready?
Welcome back to the Hank Strange
What kind of boom is that, Walter?
Lifestyles
Seriously?
of the locked and loaded.
Okay, make sure you guys subscribe, thumbs up, ring the bell so you can be notified every time we go live. We have KrisAnne Hall here, special guest. KrisAnne, we do jazz hands. That's what we do to break the ice around here. I make everyone do it. There you go, jazz hands. I hope you guys have your big girl panties on. This is going to be a fun show. We have KrisAnne Hall joining us. Liberty Addict. It's on the t-shirt.
Yes, sir. Those are our special. We actually have a whole line of t-shirts where we do Liberty and Founding Fathers and stuff like that. So this is our brand new Liberty Addict t-shirt.
Absolutely awesome. And you're going to find out how you could get one of those and all the other places or ways that you could support KrisAnne as well. This is episode 519 of the Who Moved My Freedom podcast. Welcome to the show, everyone. Walter Keller from Safety Harbor Firearms also here joining us. And of course, all you guys out there, make sure you smash those thumbs ups. Let us know if you have questions. We do have KrisAnne for about an hour here. Thank you very much. I mean, that's awesome. You know, I know you don't usually go that long. So we appreciate that. We will go the full 2 hours here. So after KrisAnne is gone, don't everyone leave us. You can still hang out with us. You know, unless you're going. Are you doing a show after this, or you're done?
No, I just finished doing my show. Actually, I cut my show short just for you.
Oh, what?
Oh, wow.
Wow. I feel so special. Yeah, that is awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So how do you do your show? You record your show and then play it at a different time? How does that all work? Or is it live?
Well, we are actually on multi-platform. So when we do the show, Monday through Friday, we do the show live on YouTube. And then we broadcast via podcast through iTunes, Google Music Play, SoundCloud, Spotify. And then we're on terrestrial stations as well. So once I get the show, I produce it down into terrestrial station segments with breaks and everything. And then we send it off to the broadcaster who syndicates it, and they send it out.
Oh.
Wow. You are internationally known and locally accepted.
Asian.
Thank you.
Yes. And you're also
you should just internationally known. I don't know about accepted. I think at any given moment, you know, I'm the Liberty Addict. My motto is liberty over security, principle over party, and truth over personality. And so that means at any given time the Republicans hate me as much as the Democrats.
Oh, listen, we know your pain over here. At any given time, we hate the Republicans just as much as the Democrats.
So this must be a favorite phrase of yours, and it's a favorite phrase of mine. I misspoke. No one misspeaks.
I was for the bill until I was against the bill.
Yeah. So you're also in Florida, right? We're in Florida. I'm in Gainesville. Walter is in the Safety Harbor. That's where the Safety Harbor Firearms comes from.
Tampa Bay area.
Yeah, Tampa area.
Yeah. No, I'm in Seffner.
Oh, okay.
You're right around the corner from me.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
I am.
As they say, you just down the road a piece.
Yeah, down the road a piece.
Yeah.
That's right.
Walter, are you a Tamponian? Is that what you call people from Tampa? No, let me
No, we're not going to go that way.
Let's start that all over again.
Seffner is an eastern burb of Tampa. So our address is actually Tampa. They don't let us put Seffner on the envelope, but we don't. We are east of I-75, and you can't really go much further and still be in Tampa.
Oh wow! Yeah. Okay, I didn't realize that was a thing.
I grew up in Tampa, so
yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah, we'll forgive you, Walter, even though you grew up in Tampa.
Well, I mean,
it's all right.
Yeah.
And
I'm one of those damn Yankees.
Oh, you.
Well, I was originally, but that's like 1969, so that doesn't almost count anymore. So.
Yeah, Walter, do you have a Tampa stamp?
Is that like a tramp stamp?
Yes, exactly.
No, I don't have a
Since you're from Tampa. Yeah. Well, okay, KrisAnne, this is all about you, so I don't want to burn through. I don't want to burn through too much of our time. No, Walter, no, I'm not. I'm not knocking you at all. I think
Oh,
we're
that's all
having a
right.
good conversation there, but I do want to find out where exactly did you grow up?
Me, I
Yeah.
grew up in St. Louis, Missouri.
Oh, cool. Okay, very cool. We had Kevin Dixie was on the show yesterday, and he's out in St. Louis. He's a
It's been a
big Second
long
Amendment
time.
advocate. Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, no, I left St. Louis. I left St. Louis when I graduated from college in 91, and I've been pretty much all over the place since then.
Yeah.
So, then I
So
met my husband in the military in California, and he grew up in North Florida. Do you know where Lake City is? Lake City,
Yeah.
Florida?
absolutely, it's a
Yeah.
little north of where we are, right where I am right
Right.
now.
Oh, you're in Gainesville.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, ma'am.
yeah. So I went to the Go Gators.
You're a Gator. Okay,
I'm a
awesome.
Gator. I graduated from the University of Florida School of Law.
Okay, nice, very
Yeah.
nice.
So I went
Congratulations.
into the military, met my husband. We moved back here to Florida, and then that's when I went to law school.
Yeah, lots of awesome lawyers coming out of the UF. Go ahead, Walter.
I was reading your bio. You and your husband both Russian linguists.
Yes, that's where we met. We were both Russian linguists. He was in the Navy, and I was in the Army. And we, military intelligence, very small branch of the government of the military.
That's a funny
so,
way you put that. Very
Yeah.
small. Military intelligence. a
Um,
very
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a very small.
Yeah, that's
small branch.
psych speak to make you think that it's not that big.
like
Yeah,
jumbo
yeah, yeah.
shrimp.
Yeah.
So we have all the branches kind of hang out in the same bases together. And so we went to the Language Institute in Monterey, California, and that's where we met. And
Oh.
that we left when we got out of the military. We came back here to Florida for his hometown.
My father is from Ukraine originally,
Hmm.
so all of the whole family when I was always young growing up. I never learned Russian, but they were always gibbering and jabbering amongst each other. But I always knew what they were saying because they always had to throw English in.
Yeah,
And there's some words there's no Russian for, so it's like I
we
knew
call
exactly.
it Runglish.
Yeah, yeah. And
Runglish.
I wish I would have learned when I was a kid because that would have been I probably would have ended up in the military too at that point.
Well,
So,
these days it's not always a good thing to go up to Ukrainian and speak Russian because they're really resentful of it,
no,
and
no.
you might get punched in the face. So
Or
Oh,
shot,
wow.
one or the other. Yeah.
yeah, they don't like that very much at all.
No,
Wow.
no.
Yeah. So, okay, let me just remind everyone that's coming in again, smash the thumbs ups, okay? We do appreciate that. Let me start here because we kind of got a little bit of the background, and I would invite everyone to go check out KrisAnne Hall. She's got lots of different stuff going on. If you didn't catch our show before this, go watch it. Lots of fun. Was your husband a part of the show?
No, actually, my husband has a college class on Tuesday nights. He's working on he's working his way to a master's in psychology. So we had to do the show without him today, and I'm actually leaving tomorrow for Yuma, Arizona, and I'll be teaching in Yuma, Arizona on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So it's quite likely that my husband will be doing the show without me the rest of the week. So we'll have to see how that works.
Okay,
I
very
was just in Reno, Nevada last week, and then in San Luis Obispo, California, over the weekend teaching as well. So I get to fly from the East Coast to the West Coast and back again, and then turn around and do it all over again.
Yeah. See, international. What do you teach?
I teach the Constitution of the United States as if the founders themselves were teaching it. And I've been doing this for almost 11 years now. And for 7 years, I averaged about 260 classes in over 22 states every year. So we were vacationing at home about 4 days every month, but we were on the road all the time. And I teach middle school, high school, college students. I'm a good teacher. I know grammar. I've taught the legislators of 10 states. When I was in Reno, Nevada, I was brought in by the Western Sheriff's Association to teach a 3-hour course on the Constitution to the sheriffs of 17 states. And so I that's what I do. I teach American history as far as it relates to the Constitution, to our liberties, and the Constitution itself.
Okay, very cool. So I'm trying to figure out, how does that exactly work? You know, when you say you teach it the way that the founders would have taught it, you know, does that, in my brain, that elicits images of, like, you know, coming in there dressed up like back in the olden days.
Oh,
Or...
God.
Well, I actually have an 18th century dress that I wear. When I teach the little kids, but I don't wear it every time. No. So what I mean is I don't teach the whole idea that the Constitution is a living, breathing document, and I don't teach what the Supreme Court says about the Constitution, and I'm not going to teach what you find in the law schools, and I'm not going to teach what you find in the textbooks. I'm going to teach the Constitution based on the words of the people who wrote and ratified the document, and the history as it really existed, not as it's been revised.
Okay, very cool. And do you find that people in modern times are receptive to that, or they more want it to be this living, breathing thing that evolves with their feelings?
Yeah. Well, you know, you have to know that we don't hide the fact that we teach actual history and actual Constitution. So the people that would be angry about that generally don't invite me to come and teach.
Okay.
So I don't have a lot of trouble, although I have cross-pollinated a few times. I've been invited by the bar associations of a couple states to come in and teach. That was probably my most hostile crowd. Last year, I was actually brought in to teach a group of Bernie Sanders supporters. Asked me to come and teach them the Constitution, and frankly, the door is really kind of opening a little bit more for me to diversify as far as political ideology, because I'm pretty diverse in who I teach. I've taught a group of physicians and surgeons at their national conference. I taught an economics class in Arizona, you know, so there's a lot of different applications, farmers and ranchers and miners. I taught a group of a miners association, you know, like pickaxe and stuff. But with Donald Trump being president, there are a lot more people of a non-Republican persuasion who are wanting to know more about the Constitution.
Oh, really?
Because when somebody's in office that you don't like,
right,
and you know, I mean, imagine you now hear Nancy Pelosi talking about the Founding Fathers, and the Supreme Court is talking about the Founding Fathers more than they ever did in the last 10 years.
Yeah. So
the people want to really know what this stuff is about. So the audience is broadening. We always have more meetings than we can handle. I mean, I'm never without work. We book almost a year in advance, and I could never go home if I wanted to.
Oh, wow. So, yeah, there was a thing that Nancy Pelosi did during the, I'm trying to remember if this was the first impeachment or the second impeachment. I think it was somewhere in between the impeachment efforts that they're trying. And she did a press conference or something, and she was banging. She was like, and the Constitution says shall. Like there was some kind of info that they wanted. I'm trying to remember exactly what that was. And she was talking about how it says shall, which means you have to, right? And I was thinking,
and you're like,
what about the Second Amendment?
Exactly. I'm like, what about where the Second Amendment says shall not be infringed?
Yeah. So, it's called confirmation bias, selective reading. You know, they do it all the time. And Nancy Pelosi quotes the Founding Fathers under great duress. You can tell by her face when she says them. She gets all. Whenever she says the words James Madison, she's like, she like pastes a smile on her face. James Madison, because she can't stand to say it, you know. And it's the same people who want to like Buttigieg, who want to pull the names of the founders off of events and pull their their monuments down. And Nancy Pelosi wants to change the names on high schools that carry James Madison. And yet when it's convenient for them, when it serves their purpose and it opens a door of power for them, then they want to go ahead and recite them. What's interesting is that listening to them talking about those who wrote the Constitution, listening to them talk about our founding documents was very amusing, because they were very, very good at cherry picking and very good at taking things completely out of context. And my husband and I had a great time on our show talking about how they're just completely, just terribly representing these documents. It was a complete aberration.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Walter.
I always say that my thought about it is times haven't changed at all. Technology has changed, but you still have the same. If you took the founding fathers and women and all that stuff, and you drop them in them now, they'd go, nothing's changed. The same scallywags are here. The same ones telling stories, lying about me. All the same stuff, except we just have all this technology now. We don't do it with a printing press and all that. It's all the same.
Patrick Henry wrote, he in his speech, "Give me liberty or give me death." He said, "I have but one lamp by which my feet are guided, and that's the lamp of experience. I know no way to judge the future but by the past." And Alexander Hamilton said that experience is the oracle of truth, and where its responses are unequivocal, they ought to be held to be sacred and conclusive. And so what those two principles, what they're trying to teach us is the principle that history always repeats. And when I teach a class on the history of the Constitution. Our Constitution was not something that was invented in 1776 and evolved over a period of 12 years, right? Our Constitution actually began its history in the year 1014. And so what I do is I take 5 written documents written over 700 years, and I show you how these 5 English constitutions become our Constitution and our Bill of Rights. And when I go through this history class, this is one of the first classes that I like to teach, where I go, people, are shocked. They're absolutely stunned at not only the fact that history repeats, but it repeats so very precisely.
Yeah.
Let me give you one example. The 4th document in the history of our Constitution is a document called the Grand Remonstrance of 1628. And the preamble to the Grand Remonstrance reads, "The root of all this mischief we find to be a malignant and pernicious design, subverting the fundamental laws and liberties of our people." And so what they're saying is, basically, we modernize that language. We've been watching government now for about 600 years, and we're beginning to notice a pattern, right? The same bag of tricks being used over and over again by those in power whose only purpose and goal is to overturn and undermine the liberties of the people. And what they did was they made a list of grievances against King Charles I on how he was violating their written constitution, violating their liberties. And in that list of grievances, you see the design they're talking about: corruption of the court system, infiltration of foreign law, government diminishing the property rights of the people, government inserting its control into the church, government creating fiat money to manipulate the people through the monetary system, and the government disarming the people while the government remained armed.
Well, that always happens.
And that's, you're talking about very specifically, Charles I was taking the land from the landowners and creating the king's forest. And he said we have to do that for resource preservation and depopulation.
Okay,
so
and this was in England, right?
This was in England in 1640, the years between 1628 and 1641.
Yeah.
And they chopped off his head for it.
Oh, good. Well, we could use that again now.
Yeah, well, I think that's the reason. One of the questions. There's so many questions coming to my brain right now, but one of the things, is that I was going to say when you were talking about how it started in what was it? The 10 something.
1014.
And the Magna Carta is one of those, right?
Yeah, the Magna Carta is actually the second document.
Second one.
Okay, so it started then. Everything kind of branched off with America. Europe went. They just flushed all the way down the toilet. There's no kind of freedoms there, right? What we know as a constitution does not really exist in Europe. Definitely doesn't exist in England. There's no First Amendment rights and things like that, right? So that's one. I think that's kind of interesting how that massive divergence, right? I think over most of the world, I think there's just really only America that's like America. I can't think of anywhere else.
No. We are unique. We are the only one that in the world that is a true constitutional republic that is built upon the principles of liberty. John Adams wrote in 1765, he said, "Liberty must at all hazards be supported." He didn't say healthcare, he didn't say security, he didn't say the king, he said liberty. And I think when you talk about that divergence, right, the basic principle of that divergence is the fact that our constitutional republic was built on the principle of liberty. Alexis de Tocqueville actually wrote about it in the 1800s, about the difference between the evolution of the French government post-French Revolutionary War and the evolution of the American government post our Revolutionary War. And he said the distinction was because the French Revolution was fought on the principles of freedom, and the American Revolution were fought on the principles of liberty.
Okay, that's interesting. Because a lot of people think those are the same thing. So what's the actual? Okay.
So freedom is the freedom to do whatever you want.
Okay.
Freedom says you are free to lie, you're free to steal, you're free to murder, you're free to do whatever you want regardless of how that hurts someone else. Okay. And I don't want to live in a society built on freedom. That's how France gets to their level of complete socialism and debauchery, because it's all built on freedom. We're built on liberty. Liberty is, and when I teach the little kids, I like giving them a math equation. I say, okay, liberty equals freedom plus morality. So liberty is actually the freedom that we have by the nature of our creation. Remember, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal and endowed by their creator with certain inalienable rights.
You're supposed to do what Joe Biden said and say, you guys know the rest.
I have a theory on that, by the way. We can get into that, but I think that Joe actually knows what that said. He went on autopilot, but he couldn't let himself say endowed by our creator.
Oh, because that would make people mad.
You know what?
Yeah.
That is a really good point. Yeah. Those words, those words, he kind of realized, got to pull this back.
That's where he stopped. That's where he stopped. People are like, oh, he doesn't even know it. Right. No, I think what happened is he wanted to say, we hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. He wanted to stop there, but because he knew the words, he went on autopilot and kept going, and then he realized where he was ending up, and he went blah, 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 blah. Well, you know the rest, right, kind of thing. Because he did not want to say that our rights are endowed upon us by our creator, because that would make the Democrats that remove God from their whole thing, from their platform, angry, but it would also undermine the socialist platform, because then they can't say that the elite give you rights, right? They have if your creator gives you rights, then your rights don't come from documents and they don't come from government. And if they don't come from government, then the government can't regulate them. And so they have to deny that whole endowed by the creator thing. Okay. So freedom is, liberty is the understanding that we are created in the image of God. We have inherited freedom from God, but we also have to understand that we have a responsibility to our neighbor. Benjamin Franklin said that liberty knows no bounds other than you cannot harm or control the right of another. So my limitless liberty stops wherein I bump into your bubble of liberty, right? So liberty is constrained by the shared understanding that there are some things that we can't do because they're wrong.
Yeah, otherwise we're not going to have a polite society, right? If
Right,
everyone's
exactly.
yeah. If
You
it's
have
just
Or a civil society in any certain way. And if you have pure freedom, then there is no law.
yeah. Go ahead, Walt.
You have to have a moral base of some type.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
You can't. I don't. It don't apply to me. Nothing applies to me. I
Right.
can do whatever the hell I want to whoever I want.
Well, otherwise we're
Well-
living the purge. It's like the purge every day.
Well,
yeah, absolutely. Well,
Yeah.
and well, not only that. I mean, you're living in the government the federal government that we have. I mean, there's practically very little moral restraint in Washington D.C. as we mentioned, and now it's leaking into our state governments.
Well,
John
yeah.
Adams gave a speech before a Massachusetts militia, and he told them that our Constitution is built for a moral and religious people alone. It is wholly incapable of any other. He said, if those who are in government, he's speaking to the leaders now in this militia, if you're not a moral people, he says, you will break through the Constitution like a whale through a net. Because you see, the power that is bestowed upon our government, even though it's very, very limited and defined, you wouldn't know today how limited our federal government is actually in its power. But even in its very limited and defined form that Adams knew about, he said, if you guys are not a moral people, you will destroy America through the abuse of the power that you have. And so part of what I try to teach people is not just simply, the difference between liberty and freedom, but the understanding of the precise enumerated limits of the federal government and how 95% of what our federal government does today is completely and totally unconstitutional. I actually wrote a book. I've written 6 books on the Constitution. 2 of them are children's books, but one of the books that I write that teaches us how to get the federal government under control is a book called Sovereign Duty. And that really is the handbook from the founders, because I'm just giving you their words on what we are supposed to do when the federal government gets out of control, because they actually anticipated it. They said that there could be a day when the prosperity that comes via liberty, because when a society has liberty, there's always a prosperity that follows. It's sort of like when the society is built on socialism, poverty always follows. That's a given standard. So when society is built on liberty, a prosperity always follows. But there's also a human nature consequence that happens, and our founders knew this. We become pacified in prosperity, we become lazy in luxury, we become complacent and compliant in our comfort, and those are the moments that people in power in government are looking for.
Take advantage of it.
Yeah, go ahead, Walt.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, anytime you give somebody a nice little office and a title, they want more office, they want more title, and they're going to get it one way or another.
Well, and they know the best way to get it. It's really interesting because, like I said, when I teach the history of the Constitution class, you see this repeat over and over and over again. Yeah. And so one of the driving principles to the human nature principles to the destruction of government is a single repeating principle of human nature. People like free stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, heck yeah.
And those in power have figured out that if you can hand out free stuff for the people, they will do whatever they can, whatever they have to keep their free stuff, to increase their free stuff. And with every service provided, with every dollar provided, we trade our own personal liberty and self-governance for a ruler in government.
Yeah. Do you think, so to take exactly what you're saying and go along a different line, do you think that because it seems to me that we're really, really susceptible right now because we're breaking new highs all the time, right? On the stock market, in the economy, people are doing very well. I'm not saying I'm against people doing very well. I'm all for that. But I think that there's when most people are doing well as a whole, a lot of people forget why you're doing well.
Right. Well, and I mean, I don't want to get into the whole economics of the thing. The stock market's all speculation, and it's all built on false premise anyway. We don't have a real economy, and we haven't had a real economy since we left behind the gold standard. So, fiat money is what we operate on. And in 1641, they determined that fiat money was the mark of a tyrannical government. And so in 1913, when the Federal Reserve was, the private corporation of the Federal Reserve was put in charge of our monetary system, we took a big bite out of our own control of government and the constitutional nature upon which we were created. Mm-hmm. I mean, that was the turn of this century was really bad for us, right? So all in that same place, you got the 16th Amendment, which unconstitutionally removes power from the states. Most people don't understand that the greatest consequence to the destruction of the Constitution that came by the 16th Amendment was not about income tax on the people, but it was about stealing power of the states to control the federal government. And then after that, you get the 17th Amendment, which put our senators on election cycles rather than on direct appointment by the state legislators, which killed our states as an essential check and balance on federal power. And so now, 100 years later, we have absolutely no idea why we are called a union. We have no idea why we were called a constitutional republic. We have no idea why the federal government is working like a freight train out of control. And the majority of the people who recognize that, the woke people, feel overwhelmed, they feel defeated, they feel discouraged, and they feel out of control. They have no idea how we're supposed to control government when in reality nothing has changed. We've just forgotten because we have taught the wrong things about our Constitution for so very long.
Okay. All right. Walter, was there something you wanted to I know KrisAnne is
I
like
agree.
she's talking your language and my language.
And also at the end of
the
the 19th century, we got things like Marxism and all that stuff, which all plays into all this, and this idea of socialism and all this stuff, which all what do you call progressive? Woodrow Wilson and all those folks, all basically socialist or Marxist or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And most people don't realize that the real constitutional turn began in 1833. And that's when we turned aside. There was a member of the Continental Congress by the name of St. George Tucker, who actually wrote a treatise on how the Constitution was to be applied. And what he did was he compiled all the documents of natural law.
I'm sorry, you're messing around with your microphone. I don't know.
Oh, sorry.
Is that, yeah, sorry. Yeah.
I bumped it.
Yeah.
So St. George Tucker compiled all the documents of natural law. He took all the ratification debates. He took all the conversations, and he piled them into a treatise, a handbook on how the Constitution is supposed to be applied. And we used that handbook until 1833 in the training of our lawyers and the building of our judges. And in 1833, we set aside that book. And we had picked up a brand new book written by a Supreme Court justice by the name of Joseph Story. And Joseph Story's book completely transformed how we're supposed to apply the Constitution. He invented the principle of interpretation of the Constitution. He changed us from a confederacy, a union, into a consolidation of states. He was building the principle of the federal government being supreme to the states and to the people, and that the Supreme Court would be the only body that would have the power to tell us the meaning and the application of the Constitution. And in 1833, we started in our post-constitutional decline. The Marxists that you talk about, Dewey, Wilhelm Wundt, G. Stanley Hall, Thorndike, they couldn't have taken over our education systems and brought us to a point where we're raising socialists in our education systems if it had not been for Joseph Story in 1833.
So what is first of all, I've never heard of that. I'm sure there's folks out there who have. What was the motivation behind that? Was that like the Illuminati? What's
He was probably he probably felt enlightened.
Well,
Yeah.
it really came about from a political crisis in the early 1830s, 1830, 1831, called the Nullification Crisis, where there were several states who disputed a tariff created by Congress as being unconstitutional, and they refused to comply with the tariff. And so you had this standoff between these states who were disputing the constitutionality of this tariff by Congress and then Congress. And so what happened was the states asserted their authority as the creators of the federal government. I mean, I don't know how many Americans actually understand today that it's the states that created the federal government, not the federal government that created itself, or, however we think they spontaneously erupted.
Right.
But the states are the creators of the federal government. The states are the ones who delegated power and created the federal government. So the states are the ultimate authority on the power of the federal government.
Okay.
So this nullification crisis actually resulted in a victory for the states, which terrified the people who wanted more national power, who wanted to build Washington, D.C. into an empire, right? Where we were more king-like than republic-like. And so in that nullification crisis, they had to find a way to prevent that from ever happening again, because they knew they couldn't do it with force. The states and the people were still too aware of the nature of the creation of the federal government. So they knew that it would take time through the schools to rebuild it. So they turned aside St. George Tucker's treatise, which taught this truth of the creation of the federal government, and they turned to Joseph's story so that they could build their ever-increasing power structure in Washington, D.C.
Okay,
And
go ahead,
at the
Walt.
same time, this is the start of the Civil War.
Yeah, we would never have had the
was
Civil War if it hadn't been for Joseph's story.
The temperature started to increase year by year as and then finally it just got to that boiling point. And,
Yes.
So how is to say it's not going to get to a boiling point again as things go in a cycle?
Well, I'm really hoping that we can educate people and really avoid the dangers of civil war again. We have so many powerful, peaceful ways to get things back under control. The problem is that we simply lack the education and knowledge to do them. Samuel Adams said, "No people will tamely surrender their liberties nor be easily subdued when knowledge is diffused and virtue is preserved." He said, but on the contrary, when the people become universally ignorant and debauched in their manners, they will sink underneath their own weight without the aid of foreign invaders.
And that's every time you hear the stuff going on in social stuff where it's like, oh, that's okay. That's just the way they are. That's okay. It's like, oh, you're little by little you're turning into Europe,
right?
Where everything's okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So
everything.
Well, and it boil it down to that principle of everybody likes free stuff.
Well, yeah.
Right?
Well, I always say to these people, it's like, who's going to pay for all this?
Ultimately, someone has to. Someone's got to pay
Well,
for it.
the people that are left working will.
Yeah.
And
well, but I mean, at what point? Because California is technically bankrupt. They can't.
Without the federal government, California can't exist.
Well, and then at some point, people will stop working. Believe it or not. I mean.
Well, they'll move out like they're moving out of California.
Yeah, that'll be the first thing they try.
The people who are self-motivated will leave that behind, and the people who want to live on the dole will stay. Because when the government is handing out free stuff, there's really no motivation to do anything. Why would I work if I'm going to get free money?
Obama was a good example of that. Yeah. He got elected and everybody thought they were going to pay his mortgage and stuff. It's like, come on.
So but there really is a serious decline of society that happens. I mean, just look at San Francisco. When I was in California last week, I learned that there's actually an app that lets you track where people defecate on the street. So you know where you can walk and don't walk, so you don't walk in people poo. There's an app built for that.
Yep.
The poop app. You guys know about the poop app. I didn't know anything about the poop app.
I saw you talking about that. It was so funny. Yeah, it's a thing.
And laissez-faire. Everything is free game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You can
absolutely.
poop where you want. You can pee where you want. You can do who you want. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I liked
well,
when
not
your
only that,
husband pulled up.
California-
I liked when your husband
California-
pulled up that app and
Okay.
there was poop everywhere in the whole.
Oh, you saw that?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, well, California is also decriminalizing things. That if you steal something less than $150, it's no longer a crime.
Yeah.
So
Same
so
thing
what they're
with New
doing
York.
is they're just and they have this with the stuff with the bail, right? There's no bail or something like that now. So these people they just in and out.
Well, because they cannot keep. There's no way you can imprison everyone at the rate of what they're doing, right?
But-
So they've got to let these people. They've got to let it be this. We got to let them out so we can let them back in again.
You have to. Okay, I don't agree with that. But
No. I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm just telling
there's plenty
you.
of desert.
It's the strategy. It's the strategy these guys are doing. So, for example, if you look at it, California is actually moving homeless people to New York City. And New York City is moving homeless people to California. Sometimes California moves them to Las Vegas. Las Vegas moves them to New York. New York sends them back to Las Vegas. There's just this. This is how politicians handle things nowadays.
Yeah.
Just juggle
They
it,
don't
move it
handle
around. Yeah.
They don't handle it.
Yeah.
Because if you handle it, you might offend someone.
Right.
Oh my God, you can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
You can't offend anybody.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, there's a lot of this. There's a lot of problems that we have in America that, unfortunately, people are going to have to get offended in order for us to fix it.
Right.
And that
Well,
cycle.
That's everyone. I'm not saying everyone's going to be offended. People of all colors, races, religions, whatever. Everyone's going to have to feel the pain to come back to what KrisAnne is saying, that this is the way that this is supposed to be. Otherwise, we are going to crumble.
Well, it's always somebody else's fight until you get punched in the eye. And so what most people, the schoolyard brawl, you can stand around and watch two people fight all day, but if you get punched in the eye, then it's on. What we have to do is make people realize they're being punched in the eye, and they just don't even realize it. So a lot of people, I because I consume the founding documents and the words of the founders, I speak and I think in those terms. And one of our founding mothers, her name is Hannah Winthrop, he said, how often do we see people precipitatively maddening on to their own destruction? So we have a whole segment of population in America that don't realize that their demands are creating their own destruction. For example, the demand of democracy, right? The demand of democracy. Well, democracy is mob rule.
Yep.
And it's majority rule. And what happens is that what we're teaching, I hear this mostly from, I hear this a lot from our segments of minority population. We are a democracy. We need to have equal voice. We need to have equal vote, this sort of thing. The problem is democracy is majority rule, which means the majority rules over the minority, which means every democracy always results in a slavery of one sort or the other, where the majority takes or rules over the minority. The same with disarming a society. Slavery has never ended in a society where the people are disarmed. And the disarming of the people always brings about the ultimate conclusion of a slavery of a certain segment of the population.
Yeah, slavery doesn't also, let me just say this, I'm going to get to some other stuff here. Slavery doesn't start until someone has to be armed and someone else has to be disarmed.
Right.
I mean, that's where all of that starts from. Let me just do this real quick because I know we've got limited time here. Everyone's loving this, by the way. Everyone,
I'm glad.
So happy.
It's going by fast.
Yeah. So Richard Hughes, I want to shout him out. Otherwise, I will get in big trouble because he's a big fan of yours. Do your fans do this ka thing? What is it? I guess that's KrisAnne Hall. That's what it means. KAHKAH. I don't know if you're aware of that.
KAHKAH. Yeah. No, I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like no one filled me in on this. But Richard Hughes is a huge fan. He's one of the reasons we were able to get you on, so we got to shout him out. Do you know him, or is that just?
I do. I do.
Yes.
I
thought he was making it up. I thought he was just stalking.
No. We actually know each other. Yeah,
okay.
We've been shooting together.
Oh, you've actually seen him in the real.
You said that earlier.
Yeah. The people didn't hear that, Walter.
I was listening.
This is but the people didn't hear that, and Richard's got to make sure the people hear that. So you've seen Richard shooting in his flip flops, I take it then.
Yeah.
I don't think. Okay, she didn't hear that.
Oh,
KrisAnne,
I'm here. I'm sorry.
Have you seen Richard shooting in his flip flops? Because for some reason, when he shoots with us, he's got flip flops on.
No. I do a training every year in Texas called In Defense of Liberty, and it's a 3-day training course where the first evening we do Constitution training. We're in the classroom. We do training on inalienable rights, the right to keep and bear arms, and those kind of things. And then on Saturday, we usually do that on Thursday. Then Friday morning, we're in the gym. We're doing hand-to-hand self-defense, gun retention. And then in the afternoon, we go to the range. And then Saturday morning, we're in the gym again. And then Saturday afternoon, we're on the range. And so there really isn't much opportunity. That's where I first met him. And there wasn't much opportunity for flip-flops there.
Oh, okay, good. All right. Shame on you, Richard Hughes, for coming to shoot with us with flip-flops. All right, I'm just teasing. I'm just teasing him. Okay, we're all in Florida. Let me get this question in from him. This is from Richard. A lot of what you're talking about is happening on a grand scale in the whole country, but also happening in Florida that we're all residents of, and other states, right? What can we do in Florida to turn this around? Florida is supposed to be run by Republicans.
Yes.
In the quotes. See, I'm doing the
yes.
air quotes. Yeah. So what can we do to turn this around? What the hairy heck is happening to Florida?
Well, we need to get the people educated. We need to get them involved. What we need to do is make people understand that there's a deception going on in Tallahassee. There's sort of like a false security because we have a Republican House, a Republican Senate, and a Republican governor. We used to have a Republican Attorney General, a Republican Commission of Agriculture, that sort of thing. And right now, as we speak, we have flying through our legislature that's going to be voted on the House floor, HB 311 and SB 728, which takes our current red flag law and puts it on crack. And it's just flying through. Only one House rep voted against it in committee. Mike Hill voted against it. Every other Republican and Democrat voted for it. And what this bill does is it's an add-on to our red flag law that makes it a crime to speak a verbal threat, right? So in Florida, the crime of assault is defined as making a threat of imminent authority, right? So if you threaten you're going to punch somebody in the face and you're standing in front of them, or you're going to shoot them and they're standing in front of them with a gun, right? Then that's the crime of assault. What this new law does is it allows an ambiguous perceived threat with no due process, with no actual imminent danger or ability to actually carry out the threat, to now allow the government to not only take your arms for 12 months, as the red flag law says, 12 months you get to fight to get your rights back. It now takes it to a permanent revocation with no due process whatsoever. And it's flying through. I've been trying to really tell people you need to call your House rep tomorrow. You need to call your senator if you live in Florida tomorrow and demand that they vote no on HB 311 and SB 728. It's just like you said, we've got all these Republicans up there.
Yeah, they're running
the
everything.
Ones that took our guns away.
Yeah, absolutely. They're running everything.
So what I'm hearing is, we'll translate this into simple terms. So if I'm here and they're talking to you on the internet and I say something, this guy needs to have his head cut off.
That's right.
Boom.
Threat.
Yep, that's it. You're done.
That's
You're
construed
absolutely
as a
done.
threat.
And if someone's offended,
yep,
someone's scared because of a shadow, then they, next thing you know, dun, 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 on my door.
Yep, and it could be a lifetime revocation.
And it's not. I don't see this people thing. This is about politicians.
Yeah, absolutely.
They are running scared because they know what could happen
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, not only that, I mean, what we're talking about here is an entire system that's completely antithetical to who we are. The red flag system is guilty until proven innocent. And then you're thrust into a criminal justice system where you have to pay to get your rights back. Because you don't fight for nothing.
I
right?
know
you have to pay.
I know you have a law degree, but lawyers are part of this problem too.
I'm the first to tell you, I'm probably the
lawyers
least
are a big part of the
person you'll
problem
ever
because
meet.
you have to pay them to get your time in court, and you got to go in front of another lawyer to hear your case.
Well, but it's even worse than that, because you do have the right to represent yourself. But even if you choose to represent yourself, you still have to pay court fees.
You got to file.
You have to pay all that stuff. Now, court fees were extremely offensive to our founding fathers. They're one of the reasons why we actually went to war for independence, was having to pay for our right to due process.
Yeah. Now, I'm not a lawyer, but correct me if I'm wrong. The whole nature of these things flip over. You're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. The whole nature of these things flip that around, and you become guilty of a pre-crime, and then you have to figure out how to prove yourself innocent, and you have no recourse for people who could, for example, weaponize this stuff.
I always get a kick out of the word red flag, because where do they fly red flags?
In communist countries?
In communist countries, they fly red flags, don't they? Aren't these laws kind of like communist stuff, where you're guilty and you get...
Most people think that red flag laws are a violation of your right to keep and bear arms, and that's sort of represented by the Second Amendment. But in reality, these red flag laws deny you of Florida has the equivalent of our Bill of Rights in our Florida Constitution. So they deny us of our right to keep and bear arms. They deny us of our right to self-defense. They deny us of our right to property, because it is a taking of property without due process. They deny us of our right to due process. And when you think about it, it also denies us of our right of freedom of speech, and the right to freedom of press, and the right to peaceably assemble, and the right to petition the government for a redress of our grievances. Because human nature says, when the government has an arbitrary, unlimited authority to take your stuff, and the most fundamental will be the stuff that ensures your life, right? Yeah. You will shut your mouth against government in order to keep your life.
Sounds like the British.
Sounds like
oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Sounds like communism.
And once again, what's that big cycle thing, right?
Yeah.
We're coming right back around to where we were 200 years ago, where you just comply.
Yeah. If you think about, what was the name of the comedian that she thinks she's a comedian that did she did the effigy of Trump, like his severed head, and she said it was a joke and all that stuff.
I did a whole video about her. I don't remember what her name was.
I'm trying to remember.
If you're in the party that's in, they do nothing to those folks.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to say to you. If these same principles were applied to her, right? She would have lost everything. Someone would have gone there, taken everything away from her ability to do that. Can I
blow your mind for a second? In Florida, in 2010 or 11, I went and spoke before the Florida Senate Judiciary Committee about the Affordable Care Act. And I went up there to explain to the Senate Judiciary Committee that there's no reason why the state of Florida had to accept the Affordable Care Act. Number one, that we never delegated the power to the federal government to dictate health care. There's no health care clause in the Constitution, which means the exercise of that authority is unconstitutional and therefore null and void. That's what Article 6, Clause 2 of the Constitution says, that if a law or an act is created outside the Constitution, it has no legal authority. And so I went up there to explain that to them. Then the Senate president, a Republican by the name of Don Gates, and I got into a tangle over that. And he was very condescending, very abusive. And he said, Ms. Hall, why don't you send me an email and tell me what you think? So I did. And I sent him a whole email. I'm publishing this all on my website at the time, too. Everything that I wrote. And the Senate President, Don Gates, the guy I wrote the email to, sent me back an email and told me that he thought that I should be shot or hanged for asserting that the states should stand against unconstitutional federal authority.
That's a red flag offense.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Yeah.
Can
you imagine if I had sent the Senate President an email and told him that I thought he should be shot or hanged?
Yeah. Well, it's like, so do you know, have you heard of Keith Perry? He's our representative here in this Gainesville area, right? And these are the guys. I think he's the one that allowed the bill out of committee for all the gun control stuff that we got, that Rick Scott signed, etc. And you know, one of the things here is we get to see these guys, and when we were giving him a piece of our mind with all the new things. So, for example, now until you're 21, you can't even purchase a gun. Like before, it was you to get your CCW and all that kind of stuff, you had to be 21. Now you can't get anything. And when we were telling him about that, just as an example, he said, "I don't even think you should be able to vote until you're 21."
Oh, I agree.
You know,
if you can't buy a gun, you shouldn't be able to vote.
Yeah, you also shouldn't have to go into the military.
Right. Exactly. No. Right.
Well, here's the thing, though. If you think about it from the deprivation of rights perspective, in the state of Florida, when you're 18, you can legally get married without your parents' consent. At the age of 18, you can go into debt. You can have a mortgage and buy a house. You can buy a car. You can have a family. You can be a police officer at the age of 18 and carry a gun. But at the age of 18 to 21, you can have all those things, but you cannot protect them yourself.
Exactly.
You are a criminal if you want to try to protect your family or your home.
Right. That's what we were trying to tell him. You could be a single mother that's 19, 20 years old, and you're out there on your own, and you don't have the ability to defend yourself, yet you're working late shifts, all that kind of stuff, right? So what do we do? What do we do about these guys who tell us they believe in the Constitution? They tell us they believe in guns and this thing and that thing. We vote for them. They've got the R behind their name. What do we do when we run into this? And then their thing they always come up with is, well, if you don't vote for me, then the Democrats are going to be worse than me.
So? Show me how they're going to be worse than you. Seriously, I am not a partisan person. So I am a Christian, and I am told that I'm supposed to know people by their fruits. And if your fruits show me that you have no respect for life, you have no respect for liberty, you have no respect for property, then guess what? I'm going to take the other guy. I'm going to take the other guy, because what did we come to the conclusion first? People have got to get uncomfortable before they're going to make the changes. And as long as we keep electing these people because they have an R behind their name, yet they act like the very people they say they hate, they're liars, they're deceivers, they're wicked, and they're immoral.
Yeah, and we might as well but you can't. Yeah, we might as well have those people. And then everyone wakes up and realizes, like, hey, we got to do stuff about this and vet and get real people in there that are going to do something other than people who have an R behind their name. Go ahead, Walt.
Once these things get passed, they don't get redone. Sorry.
Yeah. No, you get a law repealed right now.
You get this red flag stuff in there, it is not going to go away.
Well,
I don't care. I don't care who gets elected.
So so if the Republicans are putting it into effect, then we're done.
Yeah. Well, they are putting it into effect. We have right now in the House of Representatives one representative named Mike Hill from the Panhandle who has put forward a piece of legislation to repeal the red flag laws. He can't get any Republican in the Senate to write a sister bill, and he can't get but 2 other co-signers to do it. So you're absolutely right. Once they pass it through, they will never repeal it.
It will not go away.
We have to get involved this week. That bill is going to be signed into law. That red flag law extension on crack will be signed into law if we don't start making phone calls this week.
DeSantis has to sign it then.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know we've got like maybe a minute here. What would you say to the people of Florida? What do the people of Florida need to know? What do we need to do? We've got like less than a week, you're saying, right? What exactly do we need to do? What would you say to the people of Florida who believe in freedom, who don't want to see this happen? What can they do?
Well, on the short term, with this new piece of legislation that's being pushed through, you need to call your House rep and your senator tomorrow. You need to let them know. I mean, we've got to blow the phones up and shut the switchboard down and tell them, if you vote yes for this, we have your mark, and we will not put you in whether you're an R or not. This is serious stuff, because this is full-on communist disarming of the people through speech and no due process. On the long term, I would say to my fellow Floridians, put aside the party paradigms and get educated on the Constitution. Don't get your education on the Constitution from a Republican think tank. Get your education on the Constitution from independent people who are trained in the founders, trained in the Constitution, who have taken the time to study them out. Now, don't get your education on the Constitution from a lawyer either, because we don't teach the Constitution in law school, okay? We don't do that. What I know about the Constitution, I know because I took the time to study myself. And I've got books out there. I've got DVDs out there. I've got a whole online training program called LibertyFirstUniversity.com where you stream my classes at your own pace and study them. And we promise you no historical revision, no political revision, no agenda, only teaching you true history and true intent.
Okay, very cool. Len Holt says he's confused. He says, I'm confused. Is this a Florida bill or a federal bill? I believe it's a Florida bill.
It's a Florida bill.
What is it?
Florida bill.
What is it called again?
SB.
SB.
I'm sorry, HB 311.
Okay.
And SB 728.
There you go. So that's exactly what we're talking about. It's going to happen in Florida. I know this stuff is happening all over the country. We just went through Virginia. There's other places, but this is particularly happening in Florida. The reason why I'm asking, KrisAnne, is I'm going to pull this out, make a snippet of it, and put it up. Hopefully, we'll get folks out there to share the message. And because we honestly, we're running out of time here. And then, like Walter said, we're just going to be living with this no matter what we do after that, because these guys won't pull it back.
Absolutely. It's really, really frightening to see how quickly a Republican majority in both the House and the Senate have come forward and said, look, we run on the political platform that says we support the right to keep and bear arms. We oppose every law that deprives law-abiding gun owners of their rights. That's the Republican Party national platform. And yet we've got this Republican majority in Tallahassee that are working at a breakneck speed to deny law-abiding citizens their right to keep and bear arms. And this has to stop.
We sent the governor of Florida that signed gun control into law in the state of Florida. He signed gun control into law. We sent him off to the Senate as a reward.
I was very happy to see what's his face not get reelected, the Democrat. Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, I was very happy to see.
Most people don't know Rick Scott's history. Most people don't know that Rick Scott actually tried to remove a Florida sheriff from office for protecting the right to keep and bear arms of the people in his county. Rick Scott had him prosecuted, and he was found not guilty at a trial because the charges were so ridiculous. You went to Rick Scott about the red flag law. We went to Rick Scott about this sheriff and said, don't you do this. This is not right. This is not constitutional. This is contrary to people's liberty. And it's an abuse of power that will make you look like a fool. And it absolutely blew up in his face in North Florida, but the media never covered it. Nobody ever talked about it, and nobody knows Rick Scott is the governor who tried to deprive a sheriff of his job for standing for our rights.
Yeah, and now he's up in the Senate, so it'll be awesome. America will be great moving forward based on that. So here's the thing. Look, I know we're up against the hour that you gave us. I could tell by the way you could very easily do another hour, but I'm not gonna pressure you.
One real quick question before you go.
Yes, go ahead, Walt.
The word militia means the people, correct?
That's a whole different subject.
Okay, sorry. I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, it's okay. But I have a whole course, and as a matter of fact, remember the book I told you about sovereign duty? There's a whole chapter on the right to keep and bear arms. And what we need to understand about the Second Amendment, a well-regulated militia being necessary for the security of the free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Number one, the subject of that sentence is not the militia. The subject of that sentence is the right of the people. Mm-hmm. And everything else is subjective to that. So the right of the people to keep and bear arms is the reason why we have a well-regulated militia. The right of the people to keep and bear arms to secure our free state is why we have the right to keep and bear arms. So we have two different things going there, grammatically speaking. But when you get into the ratification debates in the Bill of Rights, and you read what they actually talked about as they were writing the Second Amendment, you learn unequivocally, without doubt, without any dispute, that the militia is, number one, the whole body of the people.
It consists of the people. Yes.
Who are always armed, who are distinct from government, right? So
they're not an army.
George Mason said that the whole body of the people armed except a few civil public officers. Noah Webster said that the militia is the whole body of the people armed contrary are armed superior to the force of government. Richard Henry Lee said that the militia is the whole body of the people always armed and taught alike how to use them. He said, the mind that aims at a select militia is a truly anti-republican mind, not the party, mind you, but the kind of government, and ought to be defeated whenever we hear it.
Okay. Is that...
So it's the whole body of the people,
everybody,
not the government.
Everybody.
Yeah. The militia, everyone except the government.
Right. Yeah. Well, not the army.
Yeah.
The army is with the government.
Yeah.
We don't.
Well, but not even a state-run government. The state militia. There's a difference between a general militia and a select militia. Okay.
Okay.
So the militia that is organized and run by the state is a select militia. But the militia in we talk about in the Second Amendment from the intent of the founders is the general militia. If you read the Florida Constitution, it says that every able-bodied citizen and every able-bodied person declaring their intent to be citizen is the militia.
Interesting. Okay,
That's
very cool.
That's the Florida Constitution.
Yeah. Listen, we have to get you back.
Absolutely.
Hopefully you will come back. Hopefully you had fun.
Sure.
Hopefully we weren't terrible.
No, you guys were great. It was a lot of fun.
Yes, so were you. You were awesome. So before you get out of here, can you tell the folks out there what can they do to support you? Where should they go to follow you if they've never heard of you? Lots of people in here obviously have heard of you. They're very happy to see you here. But what can they do? Where can they go?
KrisAnneHall.com. KrisAnnehall.com. I am on YouTube. I am on Twitter. I am on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. I am also on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Music Play, Anchor FM, FM Radio, Spotify. I'm on a lot of different places. Awesome. I have no idea where I'm at. I'm on terrestrial stations across the country. And we have on the website, KrisAnneHall.com, you can support us by simply donating, or you can do what I prefer in our mutually beneficial agreement, because I want to disciple people into the proper understanding of the Constitution. So you can go to KrisAnneHall.com, you can click on the store, you can get these great t-shirts that we have. We have a great t-shirt where Thomas Jefferson is telling us about how he hates fake news.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay,
in
awesome.
1807...
nothing's changed, just the technology.
No. In 1807, Thomas Jefferson wrote a letter that said, nothing can now be believed which is written in a newspaper. And so we made a whole t-shirt out of it with Jefferson's quote on the back, and you got Jefferson's picture on the front, and a little quote bubble coming out saying, I hate fake news. And we have coffee mugs and all kinds of stuff.
Fake news.
Plus, fake news, right?
Yeah,
Plus we have... books and DVDs, and we have the training platform, LibertyFirst University.com. We have homeschool students. I have a whole group of law students that are enrolled at LibertyFirstUniversity.com because they want to know what they're not being taught. So many ways to support us and help us. But I want to mention to the people, and I'm going to reinforce this, you need to support this show.
Thank you.
Because I wouldn't have the opportunity to be here if these guys didn't love America so much that they went and searched out some crazy lady who runs around the country talking about the Constitution.
Yeah.
No.
The rest of the world, the rest of America is crazy. Not you.
Had
You're
You've
not
got
crazy.
to
ladies,
support
right?
these guys too.
Yes, thank you so much. Go ahead.
We have life, fortune, and sacred honor, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody wants to dedicate their lives. We dedicate our lives. Not everybody wants to do that. Not everybody wants to put their reputation on the line, the sacred honor. We have already done that. I'm on the Southern Poverty Law Center list of anti-government extremist hate groups, and I've been there for 6 years. They show up, they protest me, they call me a white supremacist, and I put my reputation. I'm good with that. But if you won't put your reputation on the line, if you won't dedicate your life to it, then spend some resources on it.
Yeah, support the
Because
people who do.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I agree with you. Support the people who do. Walter and I were talking about that before this. It's very difficult to do this kind of stuff. What KrisAnne is doing, what I'm doing, what Walter is doing. Yeah. Walter's like running a shop all day, coming in here, trying to eat while he's doing the show, you know.
I'm not eating this time.
Yeah, not spending time with his family. No, for real. What you're saying is very true. And, you know, I know that maybe people hear that all the time, but it is really a tough deal to keep doing this. And not everyone wants to put their face out there and open themselves up to all the things that happen when you start to do that. So we appreciate you coming on and doing that, and also everything that you're saying here. You're very right.
Yep.
Thank you. Well, the support that anybody gives me the ability to teach other people, because we've been teaching for 10 years and we've never had a speaking fee. So when I travel all over the country, I could charge thousands of dollars for an appearance. We don't do that. And so when people donate, when people buy the books, when people buy the t-shirts, when people subscribe to the training that we have, what they're doing is really investing in the teaching that we give, because everything that we get goes back into our ability to do what we do.
Awesome. If you put out a new book, or you want to promote anything, or there's just something you want to talk about, please feel free to come on. You know, whatever time you have, we'll be happy to have you on. The folks are happy to have you here. It's really been awesome. I feel like we could keep going, but I don't want to trick you.
I won't ask any more questions.
Yeah, I don't want to trick you into 2 hours. Then I'll just feel guilty.
No, you can't trick me into 2 hours. I would love to stay for 2 hours, but I have to leave for Phoenix tomorrow. And I still have to get packed, and I need to buy groceries for my family, and I need to do all the mom things that I have to do. So
yeah, we appreciate you, KrisAnne. Thank you very much.
Jazz hands, guys.
All right,
love
jazz
you.
Hands. See ya.
Bye.
Love you too. All right, bye.
See ya.
Oh my gosh, that was fun.
Wow, that was cool.
Yeah, that was
That's cool.
amazing. We need more of that.
She knows a lot more about that stuff than I do.
Someone said, yeah. Someone said, is she related to Walter? What's happening?
There's an energy there. Yeah.
Yeah, kindred spirits.
Yeah.
Kindred spirits.
Yeah. I mean, but yeah, she definitely knows her stuff.
Yeah. And it's true. It's true. If people don't believe that, we talk about this. This kind of stuff is not easy to do. So a lot of times, because me and you, we're big tough guys or whatever, very macho, we don't want to get into all the things that it takes to do this. For everyone doing it, though, it's pretty tough. And the people who are out there fighting for you, they deserve whatever support you could give them, even if it's not money. Just go to Walter's thing, go to her thing, support what Walter does, or anyone, Babyface, anyone who comes on here and gives us 2 hours, because I know it's painful.
What was that? There was HB 311, and what was the other one?
Oh, it was SB. Oh my gosh. So okay, someone tell us right now.
Yeah,
what those? I see Babyface in the chat. Let us know. I'm gonna pull out that snippet and I'll get it up tomorrow.
Yeah. People don't realize how bad this stuff is.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, all it'll take is we're sitting here talking about some politician. I said, "Oh, that sack of shit," or something like that. And next thing you know.
Yeah, that's it. That's all it takes.
That's it. I mean,
yeah. Or they could go back. They could go back and do something that you said even before the law went into effect.
Yeah, and Yeah, it's not good because it's a way to quiet. And I'm not worried about other people. Yeah. It's politicians that are pushing this stuff to protect.
But there's a reason they want to quiet us. You know that, right?
And I meant to add to KrisAnne about, we've had Republican Senate, Republican House in Florida and governor before, and this stuff didn't go on. But why is it going on now?
Money.
Shekels.
Bloomberg money.
Lots and lots of money. They're saying, hey, here's $500,000 for you, homie. You vote my way.
That Bloomberg money is no joke. I mean, if you guys haven't seen, Bloomberg said no matter what happens, he's sticking in there. And there's a reason for that. He's using this to build his network to push gun control in America and lots of other things.
One of the mantras of the Democrats has always been about the Republicans and their money. And how that if you go back in time, the Republicans, they do this and they get all the money and blah blah blah, but that's not the case so much now. It's the left wing money that's the one that's corrupting the country. So,
by the way,
and once again, that goes to that morality thing and all that too that she was mentioning. Once you lose all the morals, it turns into a shit show.
Absolutely.
So. Anyways,
speaking of shit shows, Babyface P.
Coming on?
No, I don't know if he's coming on. He said, here's what he says. This is what Babyface, our compatriot, he's on our side. Okay, he's supposed to have our back. This is what Babyface says. He said, just close out now. You can't get any better.
I know. That's a hard act to follow. Trust me. That's very, very true. She's got a lot of energy.
Yeah.
That.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah. It's cool. I mean, I don't. Like I said, she knows a hell of a lot more about the stuff than I do. But I know enough to know what's going on. It's bad juju on.
Yeah, Blue North Wind says freedom plus morality equals liberty. I learned that lesson tonight.
The whole thing about the French and stuff all makes sense too.
Yeah, that's great.
That I bring up another subject that's kind of on the same, but all that stuff was going on in Europe before World War II also, where it was just a freedom, all the no morality, this, that, and the other, and then
right. Well, so if you look at like what happened in Russia, like I know which you have, obviously you have links to Russia, genetic wise and all that family history. Yeah. If you look at what happened in Russia, right? I always tell Lola that, and she doesn't believe me, but there was this one night, right, when they went out there and they wiped out all the royalty. They wiped out the people who served them, their pets, special friends. Everyone got wiped out in Russia. Yet today, they still have dictators. We still got Putin in power in Russia because they didn't build in something like America built in to stop that, because they killed off all the royalty, but they still got royalty.
You went from one extreme to another. You went from the royalty, which everybody hated and put people down and serfed them and all that stuff, to the communists, which do it the same way.
Yeah.
Look at right now, Putin. They say Putin's contemplating Belarusia. He's going to invade Belarusia.
Oh, really?
And he wants to take that back.
Is that Belarus?
Yeah, Belarus.
Oh.
Yeah, Belarus. Yeah. And so we the Ukrainians suffered Obama's inaction, and so now that's kind of empowered Putin to say, well, Americans won't do anything.
Yeah, I don't think they will. Hooten in the house gave us $10. He says everyone should show Hank and Lola love / support when they can. I'm flipping between here and KrisAnne here. She's phenomenal. And the Super Tuesday coverage, I'll definitely watch the whole show tomorrow. Super Tuesday coverage going on out there. I think Biden won Virginia, I heard someone say.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, you see? Oh, God. I just saw this stuff where Biden and the Irish Mexican teamed up. They on gun stuff.
Biden and who teamed up?
The Irish Mexican.
Oh, you're talking about. Oh man, Beto O'Rourke. Yeah. Beto. So Beto is going to be his gun grabbing czar, apparently.
Back.
Yeah.
The Irish Mexican, yes.
Yeah. It's interesting how, so like yesterday, what was it, like 3 people running for office dropped out?
The gay dude?
Yeah, Klobuchar, Buttigieg, and what was the other one?
What was it?
Yeah, Buttigieg dropped out.
I'm telling you what's going on. I tell you what's going. They're all getting ready to get together and have one big orgy.
Well, and then the billionaire guy, the little billionaire guy who couldn't get a word in edgewise with any of these people. The little billionaire, not Bloomberg, the other one.
No, the other Bloomberg's smaller than the other guy.
No, but I'm saying like he's not as big. He doesn't have as many billions as Bloomberg, obviously.
Yeah, he's the guy that ran the ad saying he's just like everybody else.
Yeah. So but then they all flipped their support to Biden. So obviously, no one wants to support Bloomberg, and then now they're trying to squeeze out Bernie. Do you see how this is happening again?
Oh yeah, it's a repeat of 4 years ago.
Even now, I'm not a Bernie supporter at all, but even Hillary Clinton is going back after Bernie again. They don't want Bernie because they think Trump is easily going to beat Bernie. Trump's easily going to beat any one of these guys, in my opinion.
Please,
and I'm not a super Trump fan at all. You can ask Walter. Right, I'm not a super Trump fan, but he's going to easily kick any of these guys are going to get their asses handed to them.
Hillary's going to be the VP candidate. Watch.
Really?
Watch. Can you imagine that shit show?
How much
they don't have enough drugs to keep her going.
How much you want to bet Hillary comes in there, muscles her way into flipping that, and like if it's Biden has to be her VP, and she's going to be president. Hillary doesn't want it. She doesn't want to be vice president. She doesn't want that.
Well,
she was already vice president for 8 freaking years when Clinton was in office.
Listen. What'll happen to the president when she's the VP?
He'll mysteriously.
There will be a terrible accident.
Mysteriously trip somewhere.
He will be
found, trip on his own petard.
His own entrails.
Accidentally double shot. He'll. What is it? What is it like? Mozambique himself.
Yes, I'm plotting this already. She is.
Hillary is planning on coming back. I'm pretty sure of that. But
in the meantime, Bill will be lining up the aides in the Oval Office again for a little bit of hanky panky. You know what I'm saying?
It's not going to happen. Can I tell you something? Hillary can't do it either. We already went through that.
Nope.
We already lived that.
Nope.
Hillary can't do it. No one wants Hillary.
Oh, come on.
I mean, outside of the Democratic Party.
Stop that. There's some of these leftists that are they're so mentally broken that they'll take. What I find they can't see it, Trump. Whatever Trump has done in the past, it pales in comparison to Hillary Clinton.
What has Trump done in the past? What has Trump done in the past?
What
I'm saying to you is like I'm a New Yorker. I grew up in New York.
That stuff.
Like the New York guys I don't like. I've already told you. I don't like Giuliani. Not a Giuliani.
Well, I know that. I know that story. Yeah. Look at Bloomberg. He was the ones that did the stop and frisk thing, right?
Giuliani did it. Bloomberg did it. All the mayors of New York were up on that in recent times, right?
Okay.
So.
Okay. But what I'm saying.
But what did Trump do though? That's what I'm trying to figure out. What Trump did that was so bad.
He didn't do anything. Well, there's grabbing the crotch thing and all that, which is minor in the big scheme of things.
Yeah, that was called locker room talk, which, by the way, lots of guys do.
Does.
If you don't, this is like the thing that drives me crazy when if footage comes out somewhere of a white guy saying something that can be twisted into that's racism. There's no black person out there that wants what they're talking about to each other put out there either, because that could be too. We talk lots of racistness.
I got news for you. Everybody does.
Yes, everyone does that. So that particular conversation to me was locker room talk, right? Like machismo or whatever.
Between two people that.
Yeah, that's not anyone's business. What went down there? The funny thing is, they destroyed Billy Bush's entire career. His wife divorced him. All that type of stuff, and now, but he's back on TV.
Billy Bush?
Yeah, he's back on TV.
Well, he's a Dem. They'll find a place for him someplace.
Yeah. Well, they took down their own. It's just like, did you see Chris Matthews got kicked out of MSNBC?
Really? Finally.
Chris Matthews gone.
Wow.
Out. Well, guess what? Hashtag Me Too. Hashtag Me Too happened to Chris Matthews. Seriously.
Sorry.
Yeah, this is cannibalism. This is the sign. And by the way, Walter, I think this happened I've been telling people this happened in the Republican Party a long time ago. And a lot of what people are seeing now, like we were just talking about Republicans and what the hell is going on. There's the Republican Party is either dead or there's been a revolt a long time ago. And yes, now they're taking money from wherever they could get it, which is actually from Democrats and people like Bloomberg. But
Yeah,
we
that's
don't
how-
have real Republicans out there. Trump became president despite the Republican Party.
Yeah, well, yeah, and his money, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
But, yeah. Well, what I
money's
was
not
saying about
enough.
Hillary-
Money's not enough. Lots of people spent lots of money and didn't become president.
Well,
so.
yeah. What I was trying to get about Hillary Clinton, her dirty past goes all the way back to Watergate. She got thrown off the Watergate committee stuff for doing shady stuff as a lawyer.
Yeah.
Way back then, and it hasn't changed ever since.
I think Hillary's always been the shrewd operator behind the scenes. Like, I think people don't realize, like, House of Cards, you got to flip the sexes there. So if you ever looked at the House of, I don't know if you watched it. Did you watch that show, House of Cards? Okay, if you flip that, they make it look like the dude in there. That's
the bad guy.
That's Bill Clinton. He's supposed to be playing Bill Clinton, right? Like a country guy. He's supposed to be a Democrat and all that. He's controlling everyone, manipulating everything. But really and truly, I'm not saying Bill Clinton is not that.
Evil wife.
Yeah, really and truly, it's Hillary behind all of that. Always pulling the
Oh
strings.
yeah, she's the force behind it because she's yeah. Nevertheless, whatever. What I was trying to get to with the whole point was some of these Democrats/liberals, it doesn't matter what someone has done. They could be pulling babies out of the womb and cutting their head off. They wouldn't care. They'll still vote for that person because that's the Democrat.
Yeah, look at the governor of Virginia.
Well, yeah, Look at Joe Biden stumbling around, saying the wrong stuff, always cracking jokes on people, which are politically incorrect.
Yeah.
And kissing girls and grabbing them and everything else doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Joe's our boy. Come on,
But
man.
Joe, listen, can I tell you something? Joe Biden, what's happening with Joe Biden is actually a crime. It's elder abuse. There's no way Joe Biden is not supposed to be out here still running politics, man. He's supposed to be retired. How many years can you be on the road, on the stump, giving the same speeches? I'll be doing the same thing as him, man. I'll just go, blah, blah, blah. Have a nice day.
Have a nice day, man. Well,
vote for me. I'm running for Democrat for Senate. I mean, come on. You can't.
Yeah.
Walter, seriously, think about it.
Creepy Joe.
Why is Joe Biden what these guys are putting forward? That's cruelty. Why don't they have better than that? Let that guy retire, man.
He wants it too.
Why?
He can't. Once again, he wants the bigger office. Why does somebody that have billions of dollars screwing around running for office? You're like Trump. They want the bigger office.
Yeah, everyone wants the bigger win, but there's some things in life that's more important, And I would think, after the couple of years he's had, he should just go take care of the family that he has instead of spending these years on the road and let some younger people rock and roll.
Let me throw another curveball in here. I think you're going to find in the coming weeks and months that there's going to be a lot of stuff coming out from these investigations that are currently going on still.
Okay. Into Biden or into
all
Hillary?
Of those, the whole thing with the FISA warrants, the stuff with for example, Biden's son in Ukraine, flying on U.S. government stuff over there, doing business, all that kind of stuff. There's multiple investigations going on. So the only way they can cover their ass is to get into office or try to.
Oh, I see. Maybe
then they can shut it. They can shut it down.
Yeah, or they can give you immunity. Immunity? Pardon you.
Yeah, and everybody, Trump. Trump. Don't forget. He's not one of those people that forget who does him in the backside, or tries to do him in the backside. He's gonna, if he gets reelected, I think you're gonna see there's gonna be some hell to pay for those. People that were spying on him in the Trump Towers and all that stuff.
There was lots of disloyalty going around as well. A lot of the leaks you see are coming from that Republican Party.
Right, yeah, they're coming right out of the White House. West Wing.
Yeah, you never saw this with Obama. Nothing came out. Nothing ever came out.
Because they're loyal, like to death loyal.
But isn't that what? Okay, regardless of what side you're on, isn't that what we need though? We do, Come on. People got to be loyal.
If you're working for me, and you're doing that kind of stuff, I'm going to make sure that you have a really quick exit, public embarrassing exit, where you're let out the office. I mean, and you get a box. You're carrying your box out. I mean,
I'm glad I'm just under a temporary contract.
Because
No.
loyalty is, I mean, that's like, okay, say if your wife was screwing you, cheating on you, and spending your money, and then you find out
Yeah.
You thought you were being the good guy. What are you gonna do?
Loyalty to me is more valuable than money, Walter. I'm just telling you something.
Oh, yeah, it is.
It means way more to me than do you
Right. I mean,
do you know Phil Collins' song? That song, what is it? In the night, I could feel it coming. The heat of the night. The heat of the night.
Yeah, yeah.
People don't realize what he's talking about in that song. What do you think he's talking about?
feel it coming in the air.
Yeah, but
tonight.
that song is all about something terrible that happened to him, and how he knew he would one day get revenge, and even if he saw that person drowning, he wouldn't save them. Who do you think? Who do you think?
I say that all the time about people.
Who do you think he was talking about, though?
You talking about his wife?
Yep.
Oh.
Because he was getting divorced. Like a lot of people make up a lot of stuff, but if you look this up, you'll see. And I saw him recently talking about this, that his wife did something really terrible to him. And you could like anytime I hear that song, and I've been listening to it since back in the '80s on Miami Vice.
That's a Miami Vice song.
Yeah, I've been listening to it since Miami Vice. Whenever I hear that song, that is powerful. That hits you like, oh, somebody.
That was the show. That was the one where Ted Nugent was on when they did that one?
What are you talking? No, that was the theme song for Miami Vice.
Oh, okay, yeah. 'Cause there was an episode of Miami Vice where Ted Nugent was on.
Oh, you know what? I would have to go back and look at that.
He was a bad guy.
But every Miami Vice starts with to-doom, to-doom, to-doom,
yeah,
to-doom.
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I can feel it coming in the
Well, it's about
air
betrayal,
tonight.
right?
Huh?
It's about betrayal.
It's
I
about
guess.
betrayal. I'm sure I will
Well,
get the song. I will get the lyrics
happens
messed up. Huh?
In the drug world, 9 times out of 10, it's about
Oh yeah.
betrayal. Yeah.
For men, women, everyone, that's the thing. That means more to me than anything. Like that's why sometimes I get into things with people, but when it comes down to that loyalty, I believe that like fierce loyalty, very, very, very important, very important.
Yeah.
That would be like, Walter, you get too tired to do this, and I go get a certain person who sounds like Subaru, and all of a sudden you see.
You better not be drowning, bitch. You better not be drowning. Because let's just say this: you're gonna die.
And then there was
and on that note,
there was a missile.
There was that. You talk about that anus missile thing,
ass missiles,
the butt missile.
Ass
yeah,
missiles.
I'll develop it just for you.
Yeah, loyalty is super important. Very, very important. This, like, before we invent, I think like KrisAnne was saying, like money is pretty much an invention, right? Loyalty is what we had. That was the first currency. I don't know if people realize that.
Well,
obviously we've traded stuff, right? Like, you and I, we believe in that and trading, bartering, and all that. But loyalty, right. That was the first currency. Change my mind. What is it that Crowder says? Change my mind, right?
Oh.
Is that that Crowder meme where he's sitting at a table? So I'm saying loyalty is the first currency. Change my mind. But you guys can.
Trust.
Yes,
Trust. We'll leave that one there too.
No, if you tell a dude something, like personally, I don't even like contracts don't mean anything. That's a piece of paper. Think about it, right? You tell someone you're gonna do this thing.
Yeah, you're kind of stuck. You should try to do it.
Yeah, we don't frickin' forget that. So first of all, don't even tell people something if you know you can't deliver it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which we see that in the gun world a lot, Walter.
I've done that occasionally, selling something. I'll tell somebody, hey, it's this amount, and then I'm like, wow, I probably could have rolled over for more. Mm-hmm. But
you said what you.
That's what I said. So
yeah.
Here it is.
But we see that, like, there's people who put out things and people buy stuff that's not out yet, and then they wait a long time.
Yeah. Well, I've been there. I'm doing that right now with one thing.
Yeah.
Two things, actually. You come think of it, 2 things.
You have 2 things that you paid for that don't exist?
Oh, I put a deposit down on the
folding Glock. You haven't gotten?
No, I expect to get that.
Okay.
I don't have any problem there. Well, that's 3 things.
I think that is 3 things now. I think they
the car, the reverse.
The reverse strike. Yeah,
the Yilo.
I know what you're talking about.
That one.
Ely, something.
Elo or whatever the heck that
the
thing
reverse
is.
strike electric car.
the car thing.
Yep.
And I knew that going into that. That wasn't a thing. I knew if if I get it, I get it. If I don't, no worries.
I'm in love. I don't know why. It's a weird thing because I've never actually owned one, but I love reverse strikes, Walter.
I know. So you and the
You're supposed that mini bike you're building is supposed to be a freaking reverse trike.
The purple haze.
Yeah. It's purple haze now.
I'm calling it the purple haze. Yeah.
You guys have to go check out Purple Haze. Walter is now American Chopper. I want to see the TV show of Walter and Will fighting it out in the shop, and Walter's like, "You're fired." He's like, "I'm starting my own shop."
What else? This is supposed to be relaxing. I do that to relax. I don't do that to get all bound up.
By the way, I saw Will Killer Keller in the chat here.
He was in there.
Yeah, he was in there. Yeah, he thinks we're idiots. By the way, I see him now. He's out there now.
Right there.
Yeah, he says reverse strike's a degenerate. You bastard.
So that reverse strikes must have came out of Europe before World War II. That's what it was.
I've been obsessed with those my whole life. I dream about reverse strikes. So if I don't know if I believe in like other lives, like reincarnation or whatever, but if it's possible, in other lives I had those.
Okay, that wasn't reverse. The first
cars were reverse strikes.
The first vehicles were one of the first ones was steam powered. It was a 3-wheeler, but that wasn't reverse. That was a regular tricycle, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
A lot of them had 2 wheels up front, usually a big wheel, and then one little wheel in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit of gun stuff here. I did see that Bricks B&T released a chassis for the CZP-10.
They did? Where is that?
Yeah.
Is that on Firearms Blog?
I think I saw it on Firearms Blog or something like that. Someplace I came across it.
Let me see. Firearms Blog. Hold on. B&T?
Yeah, B&T. The one that I like. The one that I like for the Glock. That style that they have for the Glock.
Let me see if I can find it here. And you're saying B&T put it...
Red Bear. And
it's still going, huh?
The Weimar Republic, and then before Hitler took over, that whole debauchery thing, was really going pretty good. Where everything goes.
Right. Is he trying to call me a Nazi?
So Hitler comes in and he brings order, and he did away with the debauchery and did away with a lot of other stuff too. Well, only if you were a Nazi you got to be debaucherous. But yeah, so that's where that comes from.
There's a TV show on Amazon Prime where I think it's called Hunters. It's like about these guys. It's about the 70s and they're hunting like these old Nazis. It's not historically correct, but it's funny.
Yeah, that's a fantasy. That's a fantasy.
Yeah, it's not correct, but it's really funny. Let me throw up. So here's the Firearm Blog. B&T released pistol chassis for CZ P10F and P10C. There you go.
I don't have a P10 or P10Cs.
Yeah, I don't have either one. It looks interesting. You know what's my problem with these, Walter? I've told you this before. They need longer barrels. Like, what? Okay, it's cool. It looks cool. You have all of this. You got the same freaking barrel.
Well, okay, so
can I get a longer barrel?
You want a carbine or do you want a personal defense weapon?
I want a carbine. I don't need it to be. Listen, can I get a couple more inches? What's the effective?
You said it, not me. Okay.
Okay.
No,
yes, not the double entendre. Not the
it turns it more into a carbine, but
right. Yeah. What's the effective barrel length for a 9mm and all that? What are we talking?
8 inches.
8. So why can't we get an 8-inch barrel? Why can't we get a 7.5 or something? Supposedly
most 8 inches, you get most of the powder burned, whatever, in a 9mm. So.
Yeah. I think that's an essential part. You could probably still make something that could go in a backpack and everything folds and all that.
Yeah, it could. Yeah, it could. That wouldn't be bad.
Nobody wants to work on it. I guess they just don't. They don't want the millions from everyone buying.
Somebody just got to make a barrel that's, that little bit longer.
Make a good barrel. Do a barrel swap. I've done the barrel swap thing and then had a really bad. So I have a video of a Glock barrel that's like a longer barrel.
Right.
But it was too freaking long. It was I'm trying to remember the name of that. There's a video I have out there, unless I had to remove it for some reason.
What was Mac on that one? No.
No. This is way back in the days. I don't even
I
know.
know.
I'm not even, I think I knew Mac, but no. Someone sent me, I think I was at SHOT Show, and there was a company making like so it was a pistol, but the barrel was, I think the barrel was like 16 inches, man. It was too long.
Okay. That's.
Yeah.
You can get those for like the 1911s where you turn it into a carbine.
Mm-hmm.
But technically,
Mm-hmm.
once you turn that pistol, I believe I'm not
No,
mistaken.
if it was a pistol and you go like
rifle,
you could go back.
You can't go back.
No, you can go back. If it's a pistol and you go longer barrel, you could go backwards. If it was a rifle, you cannot go back. That was the law that was settled in that case with Thompson Center, remember? All right, well, someone tell me if I'm wrong on this.
I'm confused because
I think
I'm confused.
I think if it was already a pistol, you can do a longer barrel, and you could go back to a shorter barrel. But if it was a rifle, you cannot shorten that barrel down without making it into an SBR.
Yeah, that's right.
So I think that was because there was. You remember there was a case. Remember the Thompson Center guns?
Thompson Center.
Yeah, single shots, and you could change out your barrels and change calibers. So if you buy the rifle version of that, you can't take it back. You can't go backwards. But if you buy the pistol version, you could go longer barrel and then you can go back. So.
Bricks is asking about 7.62 by 39 powder burn. I know the optimal length for powder burn is not 10 inches. So because at 10 inches you get a pretty tremendous fireball. So probably pushing it out to 16 or more, I would think.
Yeah.
But
for once in ever, 45 auto in life, not just 45 auto, ever that anyone says I'm right, 45 auto says I think Hank is correct. So we're going with that.
All right, you win.
Even if I'm wrong, we're going with that because most of the time,
Tonight you win.
Yeah. What other cool? Did you see any other cool gun stuff out there? Since we can't show any, but
No.
we can't show any guns.
I wasn't. Today I was real busy all day. I didn't get much time to play. I only played a little bit at the end of the day, and that's it. So.
Yeah. So just a quick switch over to car stuff. Did you see the new Koenigsegg? Who saw the new Koenigsegg that's out there?
No, I did not.
Yeah, I think it's Megara, something like that. The new Koenigsegg. So first of all, I put some pictures up on one of my. But here, I'll throw it up on the screen here for you guys. Check this out. This is the Koenigsegg Grand Tourer. I think it's called the Megara. I'll check on that here in a second. So looks like a two-door supercar, right? Or hypercar.
Yeah.
It's over 1,000 horsepower, 2 doors.
Okay.
Guess what? 4-seater. So it's 2 doors, but when it opens, there's enough room inside that you can very comfortably sit 4 people. Very comfortably. Yes, very comfortably sit 4 people. It's a hybrid.
Oh, wow.
So it has a 3-cylinder engine in it. And it's electric and everything. It has a range of about 640 miles because of that mild hybrid thing that it has going on. Very, very, very sexy car. I think we need one of these made of carbon fiber, all that awesome stuff that Koenigsegg does. I'm going to go back to it. Walter, we need to get one of these. It's only about 1.8 million. So 0 to 60 in like 1.9 seconds, Walter.
Let me sell everything I own.
If you wait, hold on. If you sell everything, we can get 1.8 million.
Including my business.
Yeah. Okay. Can we talk to Peggy?
No, I don't think that'll work.
Could we have a family meeting?
That'll be like that drowning thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. At that meeting, that's where Peggy says, "That's it for you. You are officially."
I can feel it coming in the air tonight.
No, it's cool. We're gonna see. Hopefully. I would rather see more cars like this than purely electric. That's what the Koenigsegg guys said. It's the Gemera, Gemera, Gemera. So
it reminds me of Panamera.
Yeah, it's but it looks sexy. It looks sexy. 1,000 horsepower, mid-engine, all-wheel drive, hybrid 4-seater. What's that?
She's watching.
Oh,
she says no.
Oh, okay. Peggy's spoken.
I
Okay.
don't want one. Really don't.
No. Okay.
No. I mean, I would, but
Yeah.
if money was no object.
No, you don't want to be homeless and have a nice car.
And
All of
familyless,
us
yeah.
can't live in that car.
I don't want to have to be doing the San Francisco way of life, you know.
Yeah.
Pooping on the street and living in a box. Yeah.
Then you have to report yourself in the app. You have to, but listen, I think that, so I was looking at some videos. So here's what's happening, Walter, in case you don't know this, right?
Yes.
So the Geneva Motor Show is supposed to be going down, right?
Oh, canceled probably, right?
Canceled. The watch show. So
was Nuremberg.
Yep. The watch show, which is called Basel World, canceled.
Yeah.
So what's happening out there in Geneva is that all the companies already went out there and they already set up, just like when you go out to SHOT Show, they're already set up. So all the new cars are supposed to be coming out right now. But because everything got canceled, I think the government said over there, they said that any gathering with 1,000 people or more open to the public, canceled. So what those guys are doing is they're just inviting in the reporters and everything that came to take a look at the cars. So you'll notice there's a ton of car videos hitting the airwaves today.
Okay.
Lots of new badassery cars coming out, which is awesome.
They're having their own little car shows.
Yeah, because, we got this thing called the internet now.
Well, yeah.
So
yeah.
you might never see these car shows ever again.
Well,
because just think about these guys, so I'm looking at the KrisAnnes videos, and you can literally hear the crews taking down the car show. So you can hear all the noise, and they're like, yeah, sorry about the noise, but the show's coming down. Everyone's getting packed up and going home. So all the companies are just saying, whatever reporters are here in Geneva, come on through.
let's play.
Yeah, you'll get to put up a video on YouTube. We need to fire up the Safety Harbor Firearms private jet and fly out to Geneva. So that's.
I'll borrow Trump's jet. He's not using.
Yeah, that's right. Just give him a call. Give him a call.
Man, come on, look at that.
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
Yeah, should be good to go. But so yeah, that's why all this stuff is coming out. But here's the thing I was going to tell you about KrisAnnes. The owner said the reason why he didn't go pure electric because he thinks, and it's a 3-cylinder engine inline, but he said this thing still sounds sexy, and that's the one thing that people don't really want to give up. So even though electric is really powerful, you still want to hear that sexy,
Hey,
grunt out of
let me
car.
tell you that you can stop and charge your batteries if you need to.
Yes,
Probably
it could charge you up. Yeah.
So you're not stuck out in the middle of the desert.
Right.
In the middle of summertime with no AC.
Yeah. Well, that's why you get more range and all that kind of stuff. But we were going in that direction. That's what the Volt is. The Volt was that, but then, because of the
gas prices dropped and boom, the Volt gone. Yeah.
No, but they wrote all these stupid laws, man. They wrote into these laws that basically they set the companies up that they have to go all electric. So.
Yeah.
Hopefully we get, more hybrids than not. So we'll see.
Yeah,
what happens with that. So
time will tell.
Yeah, I don't think the world is ready for us to go all electric.
Technology's not there for all electric.
Yeah.
So.
The technology is not there. We're not manufacturing that much power for everyone to be.
And yeah.
Flying Rich says his BronyCon canceled also. BronyCon. Okay, Flying Rich. Yeah, BronyCon was going to be this weekend. Flying Rich. So that's BronyCon. I'm not going to anything called BronyCon. Imagine telling people that, I'm going to BronyCon, man.
Yo, man, I'm going to BronyCon.
Yeah. You got to try to sound real macho when you're doing it.
Yeah.
So no.
Well, it was really kind of lucky that SHOT Show got off when it did.
Yeah. You think they would have canceled SHOT Show?
Well, I don't know.
Yeah. Are any big shows that are supposed to be happening in America getting canceled?
I don't know of any yet.
Oh, okay. Maybe someone knows that there was some big. Oh, you know what? South by Southwest. I think people want them to cancel it. That's like a big concert.
Oh.
So, you're not into that kind of thing. So.
Yeah. So what kind of music is South by Southwest?
The young people music, the hippity hop.
Young people's.
Yeah.
Hipsters.
The hippity hop.
Hippity hop.
Mostly hippity hop, you know.
Hippity hop. Okay, I get it now. I get it. Okay. Hippity hop. I was gonna say if it was all the hipsters with their dirty beards, then
Close, close. Lots of skinny jeans. Lots of skinny jeans.
Hippity hop. Lots of pants hanging down too low.
Yes, lots of that.
Okay.
Yeah, nothing that you would enjoy.
I can't relate to that.
There's some nice booties. There's some nice big booties out there.
I'm sure there's some coochie mamas there.
But I don't know if it's worth the risk.
Yeah, well.
I don't know if it's worth the risk for you. So this piece of news I saw, right? It says Trump bets it. Oh no,
What's
no,
that?
that's a thing. Okay, boom. FBI gun checks surged 30% amid Biden Bloomberg gun grab threats. So FBI background checks required in most weapon sales have jumped 30% as consumers have rushed into gun stores and shows to load up amid threats from Democratic presidential candidates to end sales and safety concerns as the coronavirus spreads. Okay. Background checks in January and February recorded the highest number ever for the period, said the FBI. In just 2 months, there have been 5,505,169 checks. Last year, there were 4.2 million, roughly, so in January and February. So, jeez. That's up by more than 1 million. That's like 1,300,000.
Yeah.
Still going up.
That's good.
You know, so.
How about them tornadoes and 25 dead?
Yeah.
Nashville tornado.
The tornadoes have taken out the natural tornadoes have taken out more people than the coronavirus so far in America. And coronavirus is here in Florida, by the way.
Speaking of that, can I tell you a coronavirus story?
Sure.
Guy that works for me part-time,
Mm-hmm.
his grandfather had to go to, he lives down in Manatee County,
Mm-hmm.
had to go to the ER,
Mm.
and guess what happened at the same time he was at the ER?
Someone with coronavirus came in?
Coronavirus person was like
Ooh.
2 doors down from him.
Oh, boy. So he's got the coronavirus.
No, he's on like the self-imposed, quarantine.
Oh, but he's home.
He's at home.
He's at home, so he can only give the coronavirus to his family.
I guess, yeah.
That doesn't make any sense. Like, how does that make sense?
Well, they say it could take up to a month before you start to show symptoms. So what are you going to do with somebody for a month? Where are you going to keep them?
I don't know. We can't keep them anywhere. And there's lots of people, they said they've already had it and recovered and didn't even know they had it.
Who knows? When I came back from the SHOT Show,
we
I had the mung. Me and Will both had the mung. It could have been corona. You don't know.
I had it before that, remember? But I went to the doctor and they tested me and said I had the flu. So.
Well, I didn't get tested, but I had some kind of mug.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I don't. I think, not to say that it's not going to take out people, but I think everyone's panicking too early. By the way, let me remind everyone: smash the thumbs ups out there, okay? Thank you.
It's something to worry about with old people and stuff like that for sure, and real young, but because they're more susceptible.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not going to get into that. Like, oh my God, we're all going to die.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think we're all going to die. So.
Yeah. Well, we are all going to die. I mean, the sun's going to kill us all in about 5 billion years. So that evil sun, man, is coming for us.
I got a correction from Bricks.
Okay.
I call them coochie mamas. They're hoochie mamas. Okay.
Where is this?
That's in the it's in the chat. Right.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's hoochie mamas, not coochie mamas.
Mamas, yeah.
different things. Related. It's related, Walter, but not the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe the coochie one is the Hispanic.
The coochie version. The coochie is an organ.
Oh, the coochie. Okay.
The hoochie is someone who overuses their organ. That's the definition. You got to bone up on your ebonics, man.
I didn't know that was ebonics.
I don't know. That might not be that. I don't know if that is. Yeah, that might just be slang. I don't know if that's ebonics. What do
Yeah.
you think about? Here, I'm going to put this thing up. Los Angeles DA apologizes after husband points gun at Black Lives Matter protesters. Did you see this, first of all?
Oh, at their house?
Yeah. So these Black Lives Matter protesters. She's in L.A. She's the district attorney,
Yeah.
right, in L.A. Black woman. Husband, black man. Black Lives Matter shows up to protest them, right? The husband actually, let me see if I could, I'm trying to see if I could find the footage here. Oh, here we go. Here's it. Here's the footage. I'll put this up right now.
Were they on his property?
Well, no, they're outside. They're like in a community or something, and they're protesting outside. So he opens the door and starts doing this. Let's see if you could see it
Right
here.
now, get off.
See, he's
Get
pointing
off
his
of
gun
my
out the
porch.
door. He has his finger
I
on
will
the trigger.
shoot you. Get off
he
of
says,
my porch.
Can you tell Jackie?
Oh, okay, it looks like some of them are on
I
his
don't
porch.
care who you are. Get off of my porch
Get off.
right now. We're calling the police right now.
So he's pointing the gun at them. What do you think about this?
Well, probably. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Did they leave?
Someone called the police, but I don't think
Looks
he
like
got.
they
I don't think he got arrested or anything like that. And she apologized. Her husband did that. I don't think he was in imminent danger or under threat. But he was pointing that gun. He had his finger on the trigger. You know?
Yeah. Well, he wasn't arrested that night, was he?
No.
Then he ain't gonna be.
Yeah, I don't think so. His wife is the district attorney. Yeah.
Black Lives Matter with the black guy with the gun.
Yeah, everybody involved in the situation was of
Of
the
color.
black persuasion. Yes.
Now, if that was a
exactly
white dude, he would have been hauled down to jail and booked.
Somebody's going to jail.
Your ass going to jail, son.
Yeah. Several
all right.
things going on there, right? So whether or not those people have the right to protest, whether or not they're
Well,
on his property.
I would first call a popo and tell him that
Yeah.
people on my property, get them off.
Yeah, if they're trying to kick in your door and get into your
Boom, boom.
Yeah.
Boom, boom.
Yeah, ringing the doorbell doesn't that's not like you're not in danger because someone rings your doorbell, even if they're protesting outside. You don't have to open the door. Don't open the door.
No, I'd call the police and tell them to
Yeah.
get these people off my property.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Something bad might happen.
Yeah. But it went down the way that it went down. It's very interesting, all of these people, where everyone's coming, the point of view that everyone's coming from in this situation is interesting. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Red Bear says, scream Black Lives Matter, a black man pulls a gun. Yeah, well,
Well,
all lives matter. I'm going to quote the great philosopher Lil Wayne from Peggy's neck of the woods, Louisiana. That's what, that's where the Lil means. The Lil in Lil Wayne is Louisiana. But here's the thing. He says that all lives matter. He got in trouble for that. Someone was asking him about Black Lives Matter, which this was a long time ago, and he never heard of Black Lives Matter, and he was like, all lives matter.
well,
Yeah, pretty much.
what's wrong with that?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I think at the end of the day, no one's really getting into trouble here.
Nope.
It's L.A. I don't even think she's gonna lose her job or anything like that, or
No, she's not.
he's not getting arrested. None of that's going down.
She's
So
not getting
so there you go. Let's see what other cool stuff happened or is going on.
look at this. The Iranians, they're having the coronavirus, like, going crazy.
Oh, it's
over
taking them
Iran.
out. Yeah, it's taking them
They
out.
emptied the prison in a frantic bid to stop the coronavirus.
So they're just letting everyone out.
I can't see that happening, but maybe the way they let them out is they let them out at the end of a rope. I don't know, but
Yeah, I think they're just saying, yeah, have a nice day. We'll see you.
get out of here. Get out
Yeah,
of
we'll
here.
get you. We'll come back around to you guys when this whole coronavirus thing.
We'll pick you up later. Just
Yeah.
stop breathing on each other.
When
Yeah.
this whole coronavirus thing is over. Let me go with some videos in the time we have left. So I'm gonna let me see. I'll show you guys on my Instagram. Boom, there goes. I don't know if Opt Out of Gun Control is still out there, but here's Opt Out of Gun Control bumping.
Oh yeah, bump firing it. Yeah.
Yeah, bump firing that. Your AKV actually.
Yeah, and it really likes to be bump fired.
Yeah.
Even
Is uh-huh.
even I can make it do it, and I'm not a bump firing person. But
Yeah.
yeah.
So is that the that is that the brace on there, or is that a
Yeah,
triangle?
that's a brace. That's a
That's a
brace.
brace. Okay. Right. Okay. Very cool. That was a cool video. Then I'm gonna go to your videos that you've been throwing up lately.
What's that? Purple
Dirt
mini
foot.
bikes or what?
Yeah. Dirt foot racing. Let's go to some dirt foot racing.
Okay.
Yeah. So there goes. Yeah. There's So you haven't put the engine of this thing together yet, right?
I'm waiting on some parts to come in from one of the suppliers.
Okay. It
I'm,
looks
I'm
good
kind
though.
of putting a little high performance on the engine. So.
Yeah. I like the purple. What color purple is this?
Oh, what was that? Holy cow! There was something else that popped up
Oh
there.
yeah. Don't pay no attention. Pay no. You didn't
that's
see.
not the purple you're looking for.
Yeah. You did not see what you thought you saw.
Okay. I that purple's from a can of Rust-Oleum.
Oh, Rust-Oleum purple.
Yeah, it's actually a new color they said, but it came out.
So it's
We
so
were,
the can said. Did you put? Is this in any one of the pictures? It's just. Did you put a picture of the can? It just said
no, I didn't.
Rust-Oleum purple. Okay.
But the frame is charcoal gray. That's
Mhm.
also a Rust-Oleum color.
Okay.
But we were just kind of sitting around, me and the significant other,
Mhm.
and I was gonna do it like an army, like maybe OD green kind of theme thing,
Mhm.
and I was like, that's kind of boring,
Yeah.
because I've got plenty of OD green. So
Yeah.
I was thinking, what can we do?
Yeah.
How about
So
purple?
so the ghost of Prince somehow inhabited your body.
No,
Because you know this is
that's
Purple Rain. This is Purple
that's
Rain that you're doing.
Purple Haze, Jimi Hendrix.
Oh, you're going for You're going for Jimi Hendrix. You're going older.
Jimi Hendrix. I mean,
You're going okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
the other guy's all right too. The other
Yeah.
guy's all right.
By the way, Kathleen Music Lover is saying that my porn popped up. No, that's Instagram. That's not me. That's not me. I don't deliberately look at that on Instagram.
I never seen that before my whole life. Never.
Also, Lola says the deals of the day page is up on hankstrange.com/daily deals if you guys want to go there. Lots of cool deals. Obviously, when Facebook for some reason took us out, will not give us back our page, which is really weird and crazy. I don't know if it has anything to do with that company that like try to say that we use the music, which I never used any music from them, but we're still dealing with that. So yeah.
Brian Quick asked, why is the gas tank so small? That gas tank is what you see a lot of times on these kits where you convert a bicycle with an engine.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the final tank, I just have one of those and using it for now. I'm looking for a larger, maybe like from a dirt bike type
Mm-hmm.
metal tank, aluminum, or maybe
Okay.
from like a 125 Honda or something like that. So if anybody's got one of those sitting around they don't need, let me know. But
Yeah.
so yeah, I'm gonna put a bigger
Throw
tank
this up
on
there
it,
again
so,
for the people who are
so it's more
interested.
proportional.
And then what frame did you build this off of?
That is a Baja. That's one of the brands of mini bikes that's been sold in the country.
Okay.
Or MB200's another brand. They're made in
Okay.
China.
Okay.
And they've been sold in different brand names, but
Okay. It's looking good, Walt. It's looking good.
oh yeah, it's
You know,
gonna be cool, man.
Yeah. That's really coming along. When can we expect that all to be done?
As soon as I get those engine parts in, we'll assemble the engine and I'll put it together. Probably, hopefully, maybe sometime next week.
Oh, okay. And will there be guns on it?
I had a weird thought of putting like a what do you call it on the front forks to put a rifle in or something, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
There was this. I'm trying to see if I could find the picture. There was a picture I saw somewhere on social media of a. It was like one of those like those old school little mini cars that's a reverse trike,
Yeah.
and it had a big massive gun on it. Man, I can't remember where I saw that. Oh, I found it. We could show this now. All right,
Okay.
let me throw this up here. Do you
It's the
remember?
last-
So you're gonna have to wait a little while before you see this. But what vehicle is this? It's one of those little tiny cars, and it's two wheels up front and one in the back, and you
Right.
literally open the front of the car
Oh,
to get it.
is it a Messerschmitt?
Maybe it's a Messerschmitt, and it
Yeah,
looks like this is a 50 cal machine gun mounted. through it. Do you see that yet? Has that come through on your
It hadn't
end?
came up quite yet.
Yeah.
No.
So very
Oh,
interesting.
there we go. There we go. Oh
This
my
is
God,
crazy.
You fire that gun, man. That car is gonna go backwards.
Yeah. Also, shout out to Whiskey Gunpowder that posted this. I don't know if he reposted it or whatever. But also, I want that, Walt. We need to.
I like the gun. I'll take the gun. And I'll take the Messerschmitt, but not together.
Yeah, yeah. I want that now because it's reverse trike machine gun. Man, you can't. You just can't.
How do you fire it? Is there open?
Open? I don't know. The concussion that will travel down that's just the car's just gonna shake apart on its own. James Miller says it's an Urkel car.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
is that the car that Urkel had? Oh, okay. Cool.
I think it was. Yeah.
Very cool, interesting. All right, so listen, we're over the 9 o'clock hour. I don't want to keep everyone here. I think it was fun. Did you have fun?
Yeah. That was the first hour was very informative. Yes.
What are you saying? This last hour, I've been informing
No, we
you of a
were
lot of
just
stuff.
we were just cracking up this last hour.
This has been informative. I told you about the Conus egg that I want.
Oh yeah.
My birthday's coming up. You want to get me a Conus egg?
We'll see.
Just saying. Kathy Music Lover says that's Hank's ride. By the way,
Conus egg or the Messerschmitt?
We need to do some work while you're over there painting. We need to do some work on the Samurai.
Well, I need to paint that your PSA 9mm too.
Oh yeah, that also. And when I was looking at that video of you and Kevin, it reminded me I need my little sharp bits rubbed off also. Yeah.
Your little what rubbed off?
Sharp bits of my AKV, my AKV.
Oh, the sharp corners.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. How come you just knocked off the sharp corners on your AKV and my AKV still has sharp corners? What is going on?
On that same note, I had a customer come in the shop yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
He had a PTR MP5K type gun, and he wanted to buy one of my stocks. He slides it on the back. It wasn't quite fitting right. This person happens to be like an orthopedic. I don't know if he's a surgeon or he does orthopedic stuff.
I think I've met him before.
He comes. I come over and he goes, just hit it with a hammer. We do all kinds of stuff with hammers. The orthopedic
yes, he's
guys.
orthopedic. Yeah. That's true.
And so enough, I whacked it a couple of times. I hate hitting people's guns that aren't mine. So I smack it a couple of times on my stock. Boom, the pins went through. He was happy.
Yeah, everything was great. I used to work at an orthopedic hospital. Wasn't a surgeon. I was basically the doorman there. And then I did security, and then I did like engineering. He
says you'd be amazed what you can do with a hammer, duct tape, and a Dremel.
Oh yeah, I've seen them do it. You know the people that have like bow legs. You know how they fix that bow leg thing?
Break them and straighten.
They break it. Yeah. They break your bones constantly. So they'll break it, set it, break it, set it, break it, set it. Yeah. Because I used to work at the Hospital for Special Surgery on the Upper East Side of Manhattan. And they would do that for people from. I mean, they did it for anyone, but you had to pay. It was very expensive. But they would bring in people from other countries that couldn't afford that, and they would do that work. And yeah, they get out the real tools.
Oh yeah,
that's serious work when you do that. So, all right. So let's let the folks know out there how they can support you. By the way, we're like 3 away from 100. Can 3 people just smash the thumbs ups for us?
2 away.
Yeah, come on, man. Smash those thumbs ups, people.
Yeah, you can see me on the Instagrams, both Safety Harbor Firearms and Dirtfoot Racing. You can same with Facebook and Instagram, both Safety Harbor Firearms and Dirtfoot Racing. Then there's some stuff over on Gunstreamer and Mines. I got to do some more posting over there. That's kind of a weird place, but I got to do some more. Yeah.
You can get lost in your mind there sometimes.
Yeah. You can get lost in the posting.
There's more and more people going over there, I noticed.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So.
I'm not sure how it all works quite yet, but yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the main place you can catch up with us. Plus there's 10parts.com, safetyharborfarms.com, and Mower Death if you want to see some lawnmowers get shot. So
yeah. Also, we're making videos. Well, I don't know when's the next time we're getting together to shoot some videos, but we've got videos up there on Hank Strange you guys can check out.
This is not a gun. This is not a gun, by the way.
Yeah, let's say that clearly. Not a gun. That's an empty wooden stock.
It's a piece of wood, yes. This is a piece of wood.
It's basically decorations. But yeah, so you guys should go check those out. I've got some snippets up over on Hank Strange from when Mac was in. If you want to see the full thing, go to Gunstreamer right now. YouTube won't give us that video back, so I'm not really sure what's going to happen with that. I do want to remind everyone to go to hankstrange.com, right? That's where you can find out how to support us. Go over there. You can sign up for our email list. Lola has the daily deals up. So if you go to, I think it's hankstrange.com/daily deals. You can find it easily in the menu. And then also go to Ballistic Ink. That's where our t-shirts are.
Yep.
Merch. If you want to get up on that merch, I've got the Gun Nerd shirt out there, Walter. Don't know if you saw that. Got the Gun Nerd shirt. Yeah. So, you got to go there and get up on that. Let me drop the end on everyone right now.
105.
Yes. Oh, awesome. Thanks for everyone thumbs upping. Big thanks to KrisAnne Hall for coming on. She was awesome. Amazing lady. Hopefully we'll get her to come back on. All right. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you thumbs up. Ring the bell so you can be notified. Walter, what you got to say before we hit the button? We're out. Peace.